Hey everybody, this beautiful package right here is the Blackrock Knives Virus. Designed and created and made by Ken Vihikite of Blackrock Knives. Please be sure to check out my interview with Ken on the Knife Junkie podcast. I'll list it down below so you can get to it quickly. But Ken is a knife maker who has been making really unique and beautiful tactical knives with this sort of aesthetic for a number of years now. He suffered a nearly catastrophic stroke about a year ago, and through pure dint of self-control and desire, he pulled himself out of the mire and is back on top, making knives like he's always been. And this, I believe, is one of the knives he produced after that period of time. It is beautiful. Maybe that's a little more information than you need to know, but he's an interesting guy. And when you watch the podcast, you'll see he's a Goliath. And it's just cool to see him back making his knives. So 01 tool steel is the steel that Ken Vihikite works in mostly, and he works in stock removal, in the stock removal method, and a lot of his aesthetic has to do with this sort of stone chip look. It almost looks, with all of this milling and rotary sanding, that it's a roughly hewn piece, but really what he does is he creates the knife, puts in the grind. You can see his perfect plunge grind, his perfect grinds, and then he goes in and does this sort of treatment. Sometimes you see this sort of treatment and you think, oh, this is someone who is hiding their grinds with this cool pattern. But interesting thing about Ken is you can watch his process on his Instagram page and see it go through each iteration, and at some point he's got a perfect plunge grind, perfect grind, and then he starts to put his aesthetic touch on it. ROC Black Rock is Black ROC knives. Okay, so this knife is in the Pikal style. That means tip down, edge in. It's a knife style used and developed primarily for fighting. It takes advantage of your gross motor motions fueled by adrenaline. Adrenaline-fueled motions are not known for their delicacy, intricacy, or detail. Generally, you tend to be more aggro when you're flooded with adrenaline and in that sort of fight or flight state. And a Pikal-style knife really capitalizes on that energy, putting the tip down and the edge in, maximizing that not only thrusting, but tearing, a lot like a cat's claw motion. So that's what this knife is. That's why it might look funny. At this point, I am totally accustomed to this kind of angle and excited when I see it because I know what it means. But the average knife user might look at this and think, man, it's just weird. It's not right. How does that work? Well, it does work in a sort of counterintuitive way until you get it in hand and you feel how intuitive it is. All right, so this is the virus symbol. You know, it's that biohazard symbol. This thing is called the virus. 01 tool steel, as I mentioned. Chisel ground. This is the chisel side, totally flat. And here is that beautiful bevel side. Very, very, very sharp, very pointy. And a beautiful handle. This handle just fits my medium-sized hand perfectly. And I feel like a big hand with big fat fingers would still fit in here nicely. I feel like there's still room to grow. If my hands were to grow, I could still fit into this, but at my size, it fits perfectly. You've got 3 pins, 3 G10 pins. You've got G10 sculpted. Each one is its own fingerprint. Each one is unique. Giant lanyard hole, which I like the look of. I'm not sure, besides lightening the weight, not sure if why else there's that big hole. This looks like an osprey to me, or a kestrel, or some sort of bird of prey, but it also just fits perfectly. And this sort of milling that he's done all over the place here really becomes useful here as textural indexing and jimping right on top. Keep your finger in place, keep your thumb in place when you're using this thing. I do like gray G10. I like the way this handle looks. Yeah, so let me show you the sheath. Every fixed blade needs a good sheath. And Ken Vihikite of Blackrock Knives makes some of the best that I've gotten. Just beautiful Kydex blades. Beautiful Kydex sheaths. You can hear that click, but it's not an oppressive click. It's not stopping you from drawing it easily and readily. It's just stopping it from falling out. You can shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it. It's not coming out, but it extracts so easily. Just get your finger there, whoops, and hold the sheath. Pops out so nicely. So yeah, Ken does great sheaths, and not for nothing, I like the look of this camo G10. And then I would have this, if this were mine, this is Dave's of This Old Sword Blade Reviews. I would put this on this side. By the way, Dave, thanks for letting me check this out. I'm not sure if I thanked you in this video, but Dave of This Old Sword Blade Reviews has an incredible collection, and he's very generous. He loans me a lot of stuff to check out, and he gives this channel a lot of knives that we end up giving away. So you gotta check out Dave, not just because he does a lot of great things for this channel, but his channel is awesome. And his collection, I'm not envious of it, but I'm jealous of it. All right, so the virus. Let me show it off with a couple of other like-minded knives. First, I'll show it with my Blackrock knives, Ken Vihikite. This is the Monkey Thumper, double-edged. This thing is wicked. Great knife. I think if I were to use this in an actual combat situation or fighting situation, whatever, I most likely would not use that ring, but it's cool that it's there. Love that double edge. That's I don't know if he's ever made another double edged one, but I asked him to do that for me. He obliged. And you have that same sort of rock pattern, super sharp. And like the virus here, it's got its own fingerprint like handle scales there. Another knife that is very much in the spirit of this is the Elvia from Copus Designs. This one I just got back today. I had Josh Mason of Bright for War Knives. He does incredible modern fixed blade knives in the Japanese tradition. I asked him to wrap this handle for me, and he did, and it's so awesome. So awesome. Check out my podcast with Josh Mason, Bright for War, a couple weeks ago. That was January 2022. But look at that beautiful purple ray skin. So it's kind of it's that same concept. It's that fruit knife concept. Tip down, edge in, curved up blade. Next, I have this. This is a Bastinelli Creations, Bastinelli knives, in collaboration with Doug Marcaida. This is a Pikal style karambit. So you got the tip down and the edge in, just like that. This one has a ring, which, again, just from what I've heard, I wouldn't use the ring because a lot of people get their fingers jacked up using those rings. But the rings on the end of a handle can feel like a wonderful pommel. So just like that, that feels good. If you don't want to use that, commit to that ring. So there's that. Now let's see here. What else do I have? Lastly, I'll show it with this. This is the JB Knife and Tool. ditch pick. When you're talking JB knife and tool, if ditch is in front of the name of the knife, that means it has this super slim blade stock. I believe that's a 1/16 of an inch thick. And yet, so that's like steak knife, cheap steak knife thickness. And yet this thing is robust as the day is long, and super damn sharp. Same thing, Pikal style blade. This one, I requested the outer edge also be sharpened, but the spirit of this knife is like the spirit of this knife, and that's that sharpened inner edge to take advantage of this motion and for hooking and trapping, if you're a real rock star. So those are knives that I feel this favorably compares with. But again, thanks, Dave, for this loaner. What a gorgeous knife. And this is one of those bittersweet things, you know, you get a chance to check out someone else's knife that they've loaned you. And, you know, just in the 2 weeks I've had this, or a week and a half I've had this, I've grown attached. So Dave, you're going to have to find yourself another Black Rock Knives virus, because this one, sir, is mine. And possession is 9/10 of the law. And of course, I am just kidding. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate it. Dave could totally kill me a million times to Sunday. He's a badass, so I'm not going to steal this knife from him. Thanks for the loaner. I appreciate it, man. Check out Ken Vehikite and Black Rock Knives, and check out Dave, This Old Sword Blade Reviews. You will be happy you did on both accounts.